Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. This is Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things 33 common sense lens. And I don't think there's any way you can deny. I think the majority of the fans will agree that She-Hulk Attorney at Law over there on Disney Plus was an absolute abomination. Whether you enjoyed the show or not doesn't really matter. And honestly, if you enjoyed the show, I think you should probably get your head checked. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things. It was a disastrous dumpster fire when it came to the ratings. Marvel basically completely and totally canceled the entire show. And we've obviously heard about the Daredevil Born Again director out there saying they're going to completely and totally ignore Matt's little trip inside of the little She-Hulk universe. And I mean, why would anybody really be interested in a show that was simply nothing more than a reiteration of 40-year-old cat women out there in San Francisco who decide to go out there and get drunk every single night, desperately in an attempt to get somebody to pay attention to them and go home and sleep with them. I mean, they literally turned the character of Jennifer Walters, the great and powerful, sexy She-Hulk that was a very competent woman inside of the Marvel Comics, into nothing more than a desperate whore for attention. And well, needless to say, that didn't go over very well with many Marvel fans, and Disney Marvel has pretty much ignored her character ever since. Not to mention all of the crazy things she said about what she'd like to see happen to children up there in Canada. Well, and another desperate attempt at relevancy, boys and girls, in what seems like something where you're absolutely begging to get brought back into the Marvel Universe, where at best you can hope for is a cameo in Secret Wars to where they can completely and totally erase you from the timeline. Well, here we go. She-Hulk star Tatiana Maslany is eager to join Daredevil Born Again, but Marvel seems to have moved on. And yes, boys and girls, that is an absolute fact. As someone who is very cautiously optimistic for Daredevil Born Again, someone who will be reviewing it every single Thursday with my dear sweet friend Sunker Maiden when the series premieres out there, I think this actually would be a very bad decision to remind anybody about the abomination that was She-Hulk. From the poor CGI to the absolute insane storytelling and the meta jokes that simply did not land, well, I think it's very obvious why Marvel would be moving on, and Tatiana Maslany, concerned she really hasn't done anything since, is desperate to probably at least get a paycheck, if not find relevancy in any way she possibly can. So we're going to check out this article from thatparkplace.com, getting all of the juicy details of exactly what she said, and of course what even some of the Marvel directors' current responses have been as well. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing, and I could not do that without every single one of you. We just crossed 1,600. We're on our way to 1,700, and we'd really love for you to join our nerd herd as well, boys and girls. Let us know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Would you like to see Tatiana Maslany's version of She-Hulk return in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in some way or shape or form? Or do you think that there's been so much damage done to the She-Hulk character by this show that we prefer to see her shelved and probably never come back in the current MCU, unless it was, of course, one of those wonderful alternative versions that we were probably getting a lot of in Secret Wars? Let us know anything about all that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. All right, from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet Montanero. She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany recently expressed a desire to join the cast of Daredevil Born Again. With Daredevil Born Again set to hit Disney Plus on March 4th, the excitement for Marvel's return to gritty, grounded storytelling is at an all-time high. The trailer's already made waves, pulling in 15 million views with 582,000 likes and only 3,800 dislikes. Needless to say, that's a pretty good number right there. Numbers that dwarf the reception of Marvel's recent offerings like Echo, Agatha All Along, which struggled to capture audience interest. But now She-Hulk star Tatiana Maslany has thrown her hat in the ring, expressing her eagerness to join the upcoming Daredevil series. And fans, well, they're not exactly thrilled. No, we're not. Not in any way, shape, or form. And the worst part is, I've seen some pictures of Tatiana Maslany where she's dressed up and has looking pretty good out there, and they really did not do a very good job of making her attractive in any way, shape, or form in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the best part was the She-Hulk series was literally nothing more than her literally being a diversity hire, right? Because they want they want a She-Hulk. They want a mutant. They want essentially one of those kind of people on their team. I can't remember what they referred to them in the series out there as well, but it's one of those things like that's what they literally wanted. They wanted one of those kind of people on their team to help out with this kind of stuff. She was literally a diversity hire in her own show. And like the rest of the time, she was just a drunken whore trying to get laid. Like it was an abysmally bad show. So they messed up a little bit on their coding on the website, but it's okay because we can read it anyway. While promoting her latest project, her latest project was The Monkey. We're not calling Maslany a monkey. Was asked by Screen Rant whether she'd like to reprise her role as Jennifer Walters, a.k.a. She-Hulk in Daredevil Born Again. Would I be on Born Again? I mean, absolutely, she responded, calling Charlie Cox's Daredevil fun to work with and praising his ability to adapt to different tones. Oh, you mean like the ridiculously over the top, literally just doing like a one night stand kind of thing with him? Yeah, okay. When pressed whether She-Hulk could fit into the darker, more serious world of Born Again, Maslany claimed, "I have a lot of serious bones in my body." I'm sure you probably do. And concerning your character from She-Hulk, that's literally all you were trying to do was get another bone in your body. And needless to say, that didn't go over very well with fans. Unfortunately for Maslany, Marvel seems to have other plans. She-Hulk attorney at law bombed with fans who were left baffled by its goofy tone, cringeworthy writing, and infamous twerking scene with Megan Thee Stallion. Oh, God, don't even get me started with that. I mean, literally just like, and the fact that like her boss like just walks by, right? Like this old white guy, just this boss, just walks by and just looks in there and casually goes, okay, and just walks away. They're twerking inside of their law office. They're literally twerking inside of their law office, boys and girls, a professional place. These people make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year working at this kind of prestigious firm. And the boss just casually walks by because it's okay. They're twerking in the office together because I guess it's Megan Thee Stallion, who I didn't even know what a Megan Thee Stallion was before this show. So yeah, needless to say. The backlash was swift and severe, leading to Disney Plus quietly removing She-Hulk from its Marvel banner. Oh, that was a lot of fun. An unmistakable signal that the studio is ready to move on. With no plans for a second season, it's safe to say the MCU is leaving Jennifer Walters behind. And yeah, that also all lines up with like all of the purging of the activist producers that we'd heard from behind the scenes Marvel. It's the same reason why we're getting Daredevil Born Again and its greedy nature that it is, because guess what? All of the ridiculous, over-the-top, dumb, woke nonsense that trying to mask it as being funny during the dark times of Disney Marvel out there, yeah, guess what? That doesn't work, and it's cost them hundreds of billions of dollars. Needless to say, Kevin Feige isn't really going to go in that direction anymore because his ego will not allow him to, boys and girls. Yeah, they thought some of these executives inside of Disney were true believers, completely and totally down for the cult, and guess what? It finds out that the only altar that they worship is the almighty dollar and their ego, which is why Kevin Feige has changed things inside of Marvel, and it's why Bob Iger is not placating the woke nut jobs anymore, because guess what? It doesn't pay the bills. This whole lie that they sold them on about this modern audience that was going to come in and replace all of us old chuds, a bunch of rape-phobes and ists and everything else. Well, guess what? It didn't happen, and it cost them billions. So yeah, we're not going to see She-Hulk season 2 ever. The rejection aligns with Marvel's recent shift, as seen with Daredevil Born Again. Unlike She-Hulk and Echo, which embraced identity politics and lighthearted tones, Born Again promises a return to darker, gritty storytelling that defined the original Netflix Daredevil series. And that's exactly what we heard. We reported on all the rumors. The only reason I was ever cautiously optimistic for the Daredevil Born Again series was because we'd heard all the rumors come out of very reliable sources saying that Kevin Feige fired absolutely, and this was before it was officially announced. We'd heard about the rumors. That's why we talk about those things, right? So we can give you a heads up of what might be coming down the pipeline. Now, they're not always true. Take them with a grain of salt, but these ones were. They lined up with exactly what we'd heard. Kevin Feige had fired everybody involved. They'd scrapped they'd already had 7 or 8 episodes shot. This was supposed to be a 20 episode season, okay, right? They already had 8 episodes shot. They scrapped 90% of it. Right, fired everybody involved, and literally the word on from Kevin Feige, the word on high from Kevin Feige was make it like Netflix. And now, which initially was not the plan, the Netflix's 3 seasons of Daredevil are now canon to the official MCU. This is Daredevil season 4 as a continuation of the Netflix series, boys and girls. That's how much they've changed things behind the scenes to try to recapture what Netflix did so well with Daredevil. And they even hired the guy from The Punisher. So if you like that series over there at Netflix, you've got a good chance of potentially getting a good Daredevil series again. And I think that's something we all want again. Make Marvel great again, boys and girls. The Born Again trailer alone set the tone with beautiful action sequences, including a particular memorable shot of Daredevil breaking an opponent's leg. The show's TVMA rating further cements its commitment to mature themes and violence, something that fans have been clamoring for amid Marvel's identity politics fatigue. Even Daredevil Born Again showrunner Dario Scarpapan is steering clear of the She-Hulk baggage. In a recent interview, he confirmed that Born Again will ignore She-Hulk entirely, particularly that much maligned one-night stand between Daredevil and Jennifer Walters. Yeah, the walk of shame that they had Daredevil do. Okay, as a guy out there, trust me, all of us, we've probably slept with people that we probably regretted with the next time, unless you're one of those really good, virtuous people that have grown up and actually followed the Lord right from the very beginning. I'm so proud of each and every one of you. you that if you've done that. But for the rest of us sinners, the rest of us degenerates out there, all of us at one point or another went, damn, that was probably not the best idea. Holy cow. Well, we don't do a walk of shame. We put on our boots, we put on our pants, we walk right out that door with our head held high, we get in that car, and we drive away, and we never call her again. That's what we do. There's no walk of shame. You could clearly tell this was something that was written by a woman who knew nothing about actual men in any way, shape, or form. So going back to what the new head of the Daredevil Born Again series says, some of those events we're not leaning into. Scardano stated bluntly, adding to that he has plenty of leeway to focus on Daredevil that aligns with fan expectations rather than MCU missteps. And that was one of the things we'd heard about from this guy as well. That Scarpane had flat out told Kevin Feige that if we don't bring back Foggy and Karen Page, he was not going to do the show because they were not in the original drafts of this series, because this series was going to be a woke garbage nonsense, no real fighting, none of that kind of garbage, the same kind of trash we'd seen come out of Marvel television shows for years. This show, this Daredevil Born Again show, is the first sign and the first product of the alleged change inside of Disney Marvel. The real question is, can they stick the landing? The contrast between Daredevil Born Again and She-Hulk couldn't be clear. While She-Hulk leaned heavily into fourth wall breaking, humor, and shallow commentary, Born Again is doubling down on raw, character-driven narratives, with Echo and Agatha all along already failing to resonate. Marvel seems to have finally realized that audiences want real stories, real stakes, real heroes, not gimmicks and cheap laughs. So there you go, boys and girls. It's one of those things where Tatiana Maslany is desperate for any kind of attention she can get from Marvel to hopefully reignite some kind of her failing and fledgling career out there. I mean, literally, The Monkey. Has anybody heard of that? Have you seen a trailer on television for that? Is anybody planning on going to see that in the box office or in the theaters? No, probably not. Tatiana Maslany and the She-Hulk show, whether it's her fault or not, completely and totally nuked her career. And at the end of the day, that's because fans hated the show. And it was written by a bunch of woke, psychopathic, virtue-signaling 40-year-old cat ladies out there in San Francisco who have never been married and don't have children and literally do the exact same thing that Hulk did. Go out to the bar every single night getting drunk and trying to get laid. And it's pathetic, it's disgusting, and it's an absolute disrespect to the wonderful character that Jennifer Walters, a.k.a. She-Hulk, is in the comics. And guess what? Tatiana Maslany is just as woke as everybody involved with writing this. So I hope she never, ever shows her face in the MCU ever again. And certainly will she, fortunately enough for all of us out there, it sounds like she will never, ever stain what could potentially be a revival of good Marvel again, boys and girls, because they don't even want to take the chance of having anybody remember that. So is Tatiana Maslany going to show up in Daredevil at any point? No, boys and girls, no way. But she is clearly desperate to get back in because, hey, guess what? The rest of those projects out there don't pay the Marvel bucks. And now, who knows? Maybe she's broke. Obviously, she's a Hollywood actress. She's one of those elites out there. She'll probably never be truly as broke as what many of us out there actually understand. But at the end of the day, it looks like She-Hulk is irrelevant. And no matter how desperate Tatiana Maslany is, Marvel's saying, oh, hell no, because Kevin Feige's like, we ain't doing that again. Let's make Marvel great again, boys and girls.